inspiring words of our school song, welcoming you to the maiden edition of ElvinCast, the podcast of School Council of Elvin Academy. Hello, I'm Ali Al-Rakabi, one of your hosts. Twice every half term, we will bring you an interview with an influential person within and outside our school. Let us know if there is someone you would like to appear on our podcast. Just send us an email on elvincast@elvinacademy.org and we'll try to make it happen. Our first ever guest is our principal, Miss Curtis. We spoke to her last week via MS Teams. Apologies for some background noise. So we're pleased to have you as the first guest of ElvinCast. So ElvinCast is going to be a podcast of the school bringing in new students and staff who, have done something great. We just interview them and talk with them. So without further ado, let's get started. So first question is, what are you most proud of at Elvin?
That is a great question, but it's easy for me to answer it. There are two aspects of our school that I'm most proud of. Number one, without a shadow of a doubt, are our children, our pupils.
Yeah.
I am so proud of how hardworking and caring our children are, and kind. And I'm so proud of the incredible progress our children make with their learning as well. So number one, I'm really, really proud of our children. Number two, I'm really proud of the staff at Elvin. I've worked in schools in London for 25 years now, and
oh, wow.
And I have to say that I've never worked with such a committed and hard-working team of teachers and support staff. It really feels in our school like everyone is in this together, and it means that we've been able to make an incredible difference to our school over the last few years. So number one, children. Number two, staff.
Next question is, you became principal at a difficult time in the school's history. Tell us about the journey of improvement you have led. What was the most difficult decision you had to make?
Oh, wow, that's another great question. So yes, it's true. When I joined the school back in 2017, the school was in a pretty difficult position. The results were very poor. The reputation of the school in the local community was really bad, and lots of our children here today and their families will remember the kind of reputation that the old Copeland school had. And it wasn't a very happy place to come to school or indeed to work in, because it was quite tough and the behaviour wasn't good. So it was a tricky time to join a school, but it also felt like a really important time to join the school. It's why I wanted to come to Elvin, was because I wanted to be in a school serving a community where we could make a real difference. Probably the hardest decision I had to make in the early days, in the first few weeks of joining the school, was to close the sixth form. Because at the time the sixth form wasn't doing very well, and the pupils were not getting the best results they could have got, and there weren't very many children in our sixth form, and also we didn't have a very nice space for the sixth form to be in, so they had a horrible bit of the old building. So I made the decision that actually our children would be better served if they went to a different school for sixth form. So that was a difficult decision to make, because I never wanted to close the sixth form, but it was the right thing for the children. And then it's made me so happy that this year, back in September, we were able to reopen our sixth form, and our sixth form is going to be bigger and better than ever before. So it's kind of a good news story, really, in the end.
Yeah. So next question is, what subject did you teach before becoming principal of Elvin Academy?
Oh, I taught history for many years. I loved teaching history. I studied history at university. So I was a history teacher, and then I was a head of history. In fact, an interesting story that not many people know was I first trained to teach history at the old Copeland School. So 25 years ago. When you're training to be a teacher, you in the old days, you would do two placements. So you'd go to two different schools to learn to teach, and Copeland was the second school that I trained to teach in. So I was here in the old building 25 years ago, learning to teach history. And actually, I think it was probably then that I really felt excited about working in Bren and serving this community, and then came back here all those years later to be head teacher. But yeah, I loved being a history teacher. I loved teaching history.
That's so interesting because I love history as well.
There you go. I know. And I hope you study history at university one day, Ali.
I do want to.
Yeah.
Next question is, which key figure inspires you the most, or what role model do you follow and why?
That's another great question. Do you know, lots of people, when they talk about their role models and people who really inspire them, they talk about famous people and extraordinary people who have done extraordinary things. I genuinely think that the people who inspire me the most are people who live quite ordinary lives but do them in quite extraordinary ways.
Yeah.
So I'm inspired by the hard work and kindness of so many of our children and their families in our school, many of whom, not all, but many of whom come from quite disadvantaged backgrounds. And despite the many barriers that they face, they work hard, they provide for their families, and they show real kindness and charity to their communities. And so I think in many ways the people who inspire me are the people who just every day live their lives in a good way.
Yeah.
And I know it sounds quite simple, but to me, working hard and being kind is probably the most inspirational way you can live your life. And it doesn't need to make headline news or change the world in dramatic ways, but it spreads kindness and love in a way that can really make the world a better place. So I think my inspiration is actually drawn from the many people who I meet day to day who live their lives in that way.
Yes, I agree. What kind of books are you into and why?
Oh gosh, well, there's two different types of books that I'm into, and like, first of all, I love big historical novels, Ali. You won't be surprised. Novels that tell the story of families and generations over tens or hundreds of years. And I've read books from all over the world that kind of give you that kind of historical view from a very personal and individual perspective. So those are the kind of books I probably like the most. And I read the most in my holidays, when I can basically always be found somewhere with a book in my hand. The other books that really inspire me are very different books, and they're books about teaching and education. And it's, what we do in schools is so fascinating, and there's so much research into what works and what doesn't work. And so my other type of books are non-fiction books from people who are really researching the best approaches to education.
Wow, that's great. In your opinion, what subjects should be core to school learning? And if not same to our initial core subjects, why choose different?
Oh, wow. I think that I think that we've got the kind of core subjects right.
Yeah.
With English, maths, and science. I like the fact that we try and keep it as broad as possible up until the end of year 9, because then you all get a chance to really try a range of different subjects before you specialise for GCSE. When I was a head of history, I thought that everyone should do history. And there are some countries where you have to study history all the way through to 18, because it's seen as part of the essential knowledge you need to be a well-informed adult. But no, I think actually I like the fact that children get a chance to choose when they get to the end of year 9. I know that my two sons really have enjoyed doing that, or are looking forward to doing that. And so, but then I think that the other core subjects that I think are really important, and there's other entitlements that I think a school should offer children. So, just really making sure that every child does physical activity regularly through the week, and that you do sport all the way through to 16 is so important, because it can help you, carry that forward into your life as an adult. And actually, the other things, the things that we haven't been able to do during the COVID pandemic has made me think how important all those other things that we do, like the trips and enrichment clubs. I've missed them so much.
Yeah, me too.
And I'm really excited about next year. Once once things have freed up a little bit, we're gonna do more to help our children get out of Wembley and out of Brent and visit the sights of London and get out of London and go on trips abroad than we've ever done before, because I think that's an essential part of your education.
Yeah.
So I know it's not talking about subjects, but I think that it should be kind of an entitlement to every child to have those experiences where you go on those trips and do those extracurricular activities.
Yeah. Next question is, what advice would you give to students who are struggling on what subjects they should choose as a career, or students who are coming up to a big exam?
Yeah. So I think there's two things there. How do you choose your subjects, and then how do you motivate yourself? And I think that there's some, in some ways, my answer is the same for both. In some ways it's different. Firstly, in some ways, the most important thing that you need to do when you're choosing subjects is really choose the subjects that you know that you're passionate about.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, what are the subjects that you're going to feel most excited about sitting and doing homework for? Because you've got, there's some subjects, if you've got 3 pieces of homework, there's certain subjects, like I know that you would go to your history homework first.
Yes.
So it's definitely right that you study history. So you've got to find the subjects that you're really passionate about. Sometimes when you first start studying a subject, you don't think that you like it that much. And then the more you study it, the more you get into it. I certainly found that with English, for instance. When I was doing GCSE English, I kind of struggled a bit, and I really wasn't sure if I was going to study it for A-level. And then I did study it for A-level, and I actually loved it. I really enjoyed English literature. So try and find your passions and be open-minded, because you can change your mind over time, and as you grow up you can find subjects that you love. And in terms of kind of preparing for big exams, and I know that everyone in the school, all the way through from year 7 through to year 12, we've got our end of year exams in the summer term, and I really want to help every child at Elvin work really hard for those, but also manage their stress levels and not feel that it becomes overwhelming. So there's kind of 3 pieces of advice. Start your revision early, so that you're not kind of cramming it at the last minute, because we know that doesn't work so well.
Yeah.
Number 2, break the revision down into kind of bite-sized pieces, so that you're not doing a big chunk of feeling like you have to revise everything. But having breaks from it is just as important as doing it well. And number 3, you'll probably it's unsurprising that I would suggest this. Listen to your teachers, because your teachers are the experts. They know how to prepare you for your exam. So if you do what your teachers tell you, you're going to do really well. But sometimes what happens is you think that your way might be a better way, and that's when sometimes people can revise the wrong stuff and so on. But keep it small and manageable and well planned, and follow the advice of your teachers, and make sure when you're planning your revision, you find the bits that you enjoy the most, and you mix those up into the areas that you find a bit harder to motivate yourself about, because then you'll keep the motivation going.
Yeah. Next question is my favorite one. Which Elvin value is most important to you, and why?
Oh, that is a great question. That's a really hard question. I could answer it for any of them, but I am actually going to say community, because I feel like the only way you can really achieve your best and achieve mastery. And the only way you can have the courage to show real integrity is when you feel that sense of belonging and pride and feeling like you're part of a team. And I am so proud of our community here at Arc Elvin. I'm so proud of the diversity within our community. I'm so proud of the kind of the team spirit of Team Elvin amongst the pupils and the staff. And I think that what we've shown at Elvin, and we will continue to show, is that we are stronger together. And that's a great life lesson that you can learn as you go through life, that actually working with others, building a team, being part of a strong community, giving back to your community is just the way of achieving so much more. You can achieve so much more when you do that. So I'm going to go with community, but I think, Ali, you could ask me that question tomorrow and I might come up with a different one, because they're all important to me in different ways.
Yeah. So
what's yours, by the way? Which one would you go for?
I'm not sure. Maybe integrity.
Yeah.
Because, it's always good to do the right thing, even when no one's watching.
Yeah. I agree. And ultimately, that's the sign of good character, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Next question is, what's your favorite food?
Oh my gosh. Well, that's an impossible question to answer. I love cooking, and I love cooking all sorts of different foods from all over the world. And I guess the thing, so I'm not really gonna answer the question straight on, because I couldn't say there's one meal that I love the most. I just couldn't put my finger on it. But I'm going to tell you the experience that I love the most about eating, and the thing that I have personally missed the most through this year is I have quite a big family. So I'm one of 4 siblings, and all of my brothers and sisters have got children. And the thing that I love and miss the most is cooking a meal for my whole extended family. So not just my children, but my siblings and their children, my parents, and having them all together around a big table and everyone eating, and me having cooked the meal. That makes me really, really happy. And I haven't been able to do that for as long as anyone has, we just haven't been able to all be together. So I don't think I could think of a particular meal that I loved, although probably, actually, if it came down to it, I'm quite traditional in some ways, and it would, if I did have my whole family round for a big meal, I probably would cook a big traditional English roast dinner. So it would probably be roast chicken or roast lamb and roast potatoes and all the veg and the gravy and all the trimmings. It's very kind of traditional English food, but probably that's what I would come back to. But then on another day, I'd love to cook a big curry or Italian pasta. So you've got me excited. You made me feel hungry now.
There's too many. Final question: what fictional character best represents you, and why?
Oh my gosh, nobody has ever asked me that question before. Well, I hope no one would say the demon headmaster. I really don't know the answer to that question. You flummoxed me on the last question. I think maybe you'll have to ask the other teachers and see what they say. Maybe ask Mr. Itu and Miss Donachie and Mr. Cook and the other senior leaders and see what they say. They would probably be able to answer that question better than I can.
So that's it. That's all the questions we have today. Thank you for your time today. And actually, I wish you a happy birthday.
Oh, Ali, the secret's out. How did Mr. Itu tell you?
Yes, he did.
Oh, that's a top secret, but thank you so much, Ali, and I've really enjoyed your questions. They've really inspired me, and I've got to go and think about my answer to that final question now, because I can't think at all. But thank you so much, Ali, and thank you for leading this work. I'm excited to see ElvinCast go live, and I really appreciate all of your contributions to our school and our community. Have a lovely day today.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye for now.
I hope you enjoyed that. I'll see you in our next edition. Here's our school song again. Bye bye.